What is going on, YouTube family? Welcome back to another episode of NAS100 analysis today. And we're going to pick up from where we left off. So in this video, towards the end, you're going to be able to get a general gist in terms of what direction market is moving in and what it plans to do for week commencing the 23rd of October. So with all of that covered, I believe you are going to find the content I'm going to share with you today super useful. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification, and drop us a like. So with that covered, we're going to get straight into it. So first things first, I'm just going to bring in the separator just to go over where we left off from last week. So last week's video, I mentioned that this was the area that we wanted to keep an eye on. This was the price point that I mentioned, which was 14,825.2. I mentioned that if price goes below that level, it is fair to assume that we're going to have a downtrend, and we should obviously be taking in sell positions. Obviously, I said that because this is my personal analysis that I am doing for myself, okay, and I'm just sharing that with you. So it is important that you do know that I am not a financial advisor. I am not giving you financial advice. This is purely my perspective as to how I like to move in the market, and some of the information I will be sharing you will find useful as you too begin navigating the markets for yourself, okay? So with that covered, we got that move, right? And in all fairness, I joined in on the market on a sell at around this level, right, once we got this break, because all this stuff here that was happening in this zone from around here down to around this level, okay, I had the vibe, right, that price would have started to push upwards, okay? So as we went on throughout the week, I was like, let me just wait until I actually get the real confirmation that I am looking for, the absolute confirmation, and then join the market from there. So market broke at this level on the Friday. So it broke on the Friday, right? I waited to see what was going to happen, if it was going to start to push back up again to give me some kind of a pullback, and then I would then join it, right? But essentially what I got was major consolidation happening in this area. So it just kind of made sense just to join in the market from around here. And I was a little bit worried. I thought I would be taken out, but it turned out not to be the case. So last week I was only able to put in one trade. So only one trade for last week. And I managed to get all of that, and I got out of that towards the end of market. So around about 9 o'clock in the evening was when roughly I hopped out with a small amount of profit. Ideally, I would have hoped to have got it from around this level up here, but like I said, there was a lot happening and I wasn't sure what price was going to do. But at the same time, had I gone in, had I taken the low of the Monday, which is this area right here, taking that low on the Monday, I would have gotten a little bit more, but I just didn't take that trade. So literally it was just this trade. I took that and then I ran it down to around this level over here, and it was happy days. So it was a nice little game for the end of the week. So now we're going to get into business as to where I think market is going to go for week commencing the 23rd of October. So let's get rid of all of these price points. We don't need those, but we are going to keep the weekly highs and the weekly lows definitely in place. So last week's high was set at this level over here, right here. This was last week's high over here. Okay. And then this was last week's low. If I can just get that done. So let me just put in a label for that. So let's put in weekly high and let's put in weekly low. Okay, so essentially we're going off the same kind of vibe as I've been talking about for a hot minute, right? I'm waiting for one of these levels here to break. And in my opinion, I don't think the weekly high is going to get taken out just yet. I think the weekly low next week will be taken out, and then once that happens, we can then decide how we're going to navigate. Personally, I'll be waiting for one or two things, either a consolidation like we have over here, or a pullback to the upside, at which point I will join it from that level. But that is what I am looking for. So I'm just going to go into the daily. So I'm just going to bring in another chart that I've got. Just going to bring in another chart that we've got, right? and we're just going to go to the day on that one there and just take a quick look as to see what we can kind of expect what market is doing. So in line with what I talked about last week's video that I did in regards to this trend that I drew out, okay, as we can kind of see, as it seems right now, okay, that price is indeed following this little wedge that we have at the moment. I almost forgot the word for that for a second, right? So this little wedge is kind of following that at the moment. So I'm expecting price to maybe come down to around this zone over here. Maybe. It may do it, it may not do it. Only time will tell. We will see, right? So I'm expecting price to come down to this zone, which is roughly around 14,207.8. And if we do get this move, essentially it would mean, if I went back to the other chart that we have, right, it would basically mean, okay, that what's the word I'm looking for, that the weekly low of last week would have been taken out, okay? But at which point we kind of need to be careful, because let me zoom in a little bit so you can kind of actually wait, let's go back to the other one, right? Reason why we want to be careful when price gets to this zone over here is because there is a possibility that it will then begin to push upwards, right? And if it does push up and then it takes out one of these highs, right, either this one would be the nearest one that you need to take out. If it takes out this high, then I would say that price is maybe heading to this zone up here, okay, right? So it's going to do something like this. It's going to do something like it's going to come down here, and then it's going to shoot up. And let's say it doesn't come down. It can come down, but let's just say it doesn't come down. I believe it's most likely going to blast up to this level over here, and then it may continue its journey upwards, or it may fly back down again, right? If I zoom out of this, right, you'll see what I'm looking at for the overall year in terms of what I think price is going to do. I may be right, I could be wrong in regards to this overall structure that I've drawn over here, but I'm of the mindset that this move that I've drawn over here has a high probability of taking place, and then it doing something like this to come back down down to around this zone before pushing up. So this would be my view or my vibe for the rest of this year heading into 2024, right? So we're just going to go back into the previous chart again. Let me just go back into the hour real quick. And let's just zoom out. And as we can see, right, as we can see, there is a major level down here. Okay, so price could definitely come down to this zone. Definitely come down to the zone. And if it does come down to this zone, then I would be expecting it to do some kind of push back up to around this area, right? And if so, let me just zoom this all the way back a little bit just so we can get the general vibe. Will be something like this. It will come down to about this level over here and then push back up to around this zone over here, right? And that will be in line with the trend line that I drew on the daily. So let me just put in this trend line over here, right? So when I went into the daily chart, this is what you saw, but I'm just redrawing it here so at least you guys can see how I'm coming up with the scenarios for what I think market may or may not do, right? So let me just make this a little bit darker. Well, not darker, but just make it pop a little bit, right? So this is the kind of vibe that I have at the moment. So next week, I would say that price is going to close below last week's high, which was Friday's low, right? It may continue all the way down here, okay? How fast it moves from this point to this point is what we're going to find out next week. It could make this move from, say, from Monday, and then it will get down here to, say, for like Wednesday, and it will start pushing up from Wednesday up to this level. This is something that may happen, it may not happen. This is purely an assumption on my part, because like I said, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what market is going to do. All I'm basically doing is just reading it just as you guys are reading it or attempting to read it, right? So that will be the vibe that I would recommend for next week in terms of what to look out for. Let me get rid of these trend lines because I don't need them on this particular chart, but they're useful on the other one. So let's just get rid of these trend lines for a minute. Let's zoom in here real quick. Okay. So price points for you guys to be mindful of for next week. First price point, which is the weekly low, that will be 14,543.6. If that is taken out, we need to look for two things: consolidation or a pullback to the upside. One of the two will give us a good sign to say, hey, we can actually join the market. And once again, this is not financial advice, because I'm not a financial advisor. Whatever moves you make in the market is all on you, right? The second point that we need to look out for, which I highly doubt it will get there, but it could easily do it, right? And that would be the weekly high of last week, which is 15,220.8, right? Nearabouts. So if one of these two levels are taken out next week, right, if it's taken out at the beginning of the week, it kind of sets the tone for us to really enjoy some nice pushes in whatever direction it decides to move in, and that will be that, right? Another thing as well that we also need to be mindful of in regards to this area over here is there is a zone down here that price may bounce from, and that is this right here. Right, so let me just move this over here. This zone over here is something that we need to be mindful from, okay? So how I would basically navigate this move, is, say on a Monday, price closes below the weekly low, okay? And I decide to join the market. I will set my stop covering this swing high, right? This swing high over here. So my stop will cover this move over here. And my TP would be in this zone right here, okay? Will be in this zone right here, right? So we've got that move. And then say price then begins to reverse, right? If price then takes out on his move to the upside, the weekly low, then I'm going to be like, okay, this is going to be a bit of a risky trade, but what I am going to do is I'll be putting in buys, right? Once it pulls back again, right? And then aim to hop off somewhere around this zone over here. That would be what I would plan to do should that move occur. All right. So with all of that covered, my awesome people, I want to thank you for coming over to watch another episode of NAS100 analysis today. If you haven't done so already but found the content useful, make sure you hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification, and drop us a like. Also, I've put some information in the description area in regards to setting up your own trading bot. Okay, so you will go in there, you will get a trading bot from them, right? But ideally, you kind of want to figure out how to program the bot yourself, right? And they give you all the instructions as to how to go about doing that. I think it's very, very useful to at least put that together, right? So that's in there. There's also a link for TradingView. If you're not using TradingView, get in there. You can get it for free and use it for free because you don't necessarily need the indicators. But however, if you do need the indicators, then you may need to be on the paid plan, right? But either way, if you don't have TradingView, definitely use that link to get yourself hooked up, right? Any kind of, I get a little something too, right? So so it's great in supporting the channel. And thirdly, I've put together a blog post in there as well, right? So what you can do is go in there and take a look at some of the books that I've listed in there, right? I believe these books will definitely help you on your trading journey, and I think it's worth you viewing it. And most importantly, if you get the hard copy, you will have it forever. So these are the 3 things that is in the description area that might be worth your attention. And with all of that covered, my awesome people from all around the world, I want to wish you the best of luck with your trades for next week. Abundance to you all. And this is Pips and Points signing out.